Be prepared. It's time. The portal is already open, and it's breaking every rule you thought September was following. Tomorrow isn't just another day on the calendar, it's a coded event that's been etched into time itself. Day and year fold into each other like a hidden pattern that was waiting for the exact moment to show itself. Most will ignore it, thinking it's nothing, but for the chosen ones, this portal is already active. The alignment has been circling, waiting, building, and now it's here. This is a signal, and it only comes once. Ignore it, and you miss the point of why you were alive to see it. The numbers lock together tomorrow in a way they never have before. And if you can't see the 1818 in the date, don't worry. It comes from the day, 18th, and then you add the month, plus the year, 9 plus 2, plus 0, plus 2, plus 5. That's 18 again. That's not random, that's a mirror code. And every time numbers mirror like this, mystics warned that destiny bends. Entire storylines collapse, new ones open. Some lives change in a single night. This is the kind of date that doesn't just mark time, it flips it. What you were meant to do, who you were meant to meet, the path you thought was set in stone, tomorrow has the power to rewrite all of it. If you're starting to feel the influence of this portal, feel free to leave your thoughts below. You could even drop 1818 along with it if you want to align with this portal. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. Once the code activates, you don't get to step back into the old script. You're already inside the rewrite. Tomorrow is the last gate before the storm. Think of 1818 as the final quality control for your inner field before eclipse season kicks in. Everything that comes after, the heavier planetary hits, the emotional accelerants of the eclipses, will land on whatever foundation you've laid by then. This is not a mystical comfort, it's a practical hinge. If you walk into eclipse season with unresolved tensions, half-made decisions, or habits that drain you, those things won't quietly fade away. They will be magnified. They will be louder. The universe doesn't punish. It amplifies what's already present. This checkpoint doesn't fix you. 1818 doesn't fix everything. It tests whether you're ready to face what's coming. That's the purpose of this date, to show you what can stand the pressure and what will crumble under it. Expect tests that are quick and precise, a relationship showing its real priorities in one evening, a job situation that suddenly reveals its limits, an offer that either aligns or exposes the gap between what you say you want and what you actually accept. These are not random inconveniences. They are calibrations. There's another layer, timing. The energy around 1818 can accelerate endings that have been inching along for months, or it can nudge beginnings that were delayed. For some, it will feel like the air shifts and a quiet decision becomes impossible to ignore. For others, it will reveal the exact thing they've been avoiding. This is the last clean mirror before the eclipses distort the reflections. So whatever you don't see now, you'll be working with in amplified form later. That's why this moment matters. Not because it saves you from trouble, but because it hands you a choice. Make the cut now, or have the cut make itself later under harsher conditions. Don't mistake subtlety for insignificance. The tests that come through 1818 can be surgical. They can remove what's been dead weight without drama, or they can yank it from you suddenly. Either way, what's left after this portal is what you will carry into the next, darker, faster season. Pay attention tonight. The difference between a smooth passage and a turbulent wake often comes down to what you allow to remain. When someone actually passes through this gate, it shows up as a change you can feel in the center of you, not as a new set of perfect circumstances. It's not that bills dissolve or relationships instantly become ideal. It's that your internal field stops arguing with itself. The noise that used to run your decisions, the constant second-guessing, the panic that masked as urgency, the tiny compulsions to prove or perform, it slows, then fades. You'll know you passed the gate not because your life looks better, but because your energy stopped screaming. This is an energetic punctuation mark. People describe it as weightless clarity. Choices that used to feel like carrying boulders suddenly feel like picking up a single clear page. You'll notice decisions come easier, not because you force them, but because the pull of what's false or unnecessary has loosened. The internal alarms stop tripping for every small thing. Instead of reacting, you move from a quieter center. That's the unmistakable sign. It's also physical in simple ways. A loosened chest, a softer jaw, the feeling that your attention can rest somewhere stable without jumping. Not dramatic fireworks, a steady, subtle easing. The world remains messy, but you don't get dragged by it as often. The shift rewires your threshold for what deserves energy. Where you once poured yourself into repairing every slight or chasing every validation, you now hold a different standard. That change in allocation is the real reward. And here's the twist most people miss. This clarity doesn't always land as peace. Sometimes it arrives as a cold, clear truth that forces action. You might suddenly see a relationship for what it truly is and have to act. You might hear a career answer that removes any option for half effort. The gate doesn't guarantee comfort. It guarantees honesty. When your energy stops screaming, your life will demand a response. Practical, immediate, unavoidable. That's the difference between comfort and calibration. And here's where the chosen ones stand apart. The portal is already open for them. They're the first to feel this easing, the first to notice the noise quieting down. For everyone else, the storm still rages until tomorrow's peak. But if you feel the calm now, take it as confirmation. You're ahead of the curve, already moving through what others haven't even sensed yet. If you feel that easing, treat it as confirmation more than celebration. It's a sign the portal worked on you, not to fix your life, but to sharpen your capacity to live it without the constant internal chaos. For most of your life, you've been reading from a script you didn't write. It's subtle, the same routes, the same small decisions, the same comfort that looks a lot like sleep. Your brain prefers the repeatable, so it builds habits into a story that runs on autopilot. Jobs, relationships, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. They're all lines in that script. You don't notice them because they're efficient. They spare energy, and that feels safe. But efficiency is not the same as truth. On 1818, that script runs into a page with different ink. This portal doesn't rewrite the lines gently. It interrupts them. People will suddenly feel like an unnoticed comma has gone missing, and the sentence now reads differently. You'll find yourself asking questions that have no obvious answers. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why did I say yes to that? The discomfort isn't decorative, it's diagnostic. The 1818 moment reveals the parts of your life that were repeated because they were easy, not because they were real. Some decisions will pop loose like a loose thread and unravel entire patterns without ceremony. Others will arrive like a quiet alarm. Nothing dramatic happens outwardly, but inwardly you know there's no returning to autopilot. Expect variance. For some, the break is abrupt, a sudden resignation, a walkout, a confrontation that clears the air. For others, it's a slow uncoupling. You'll notice the energy no longer fits, and you'll start to drift away without a visible reason. Don't confuse lack of drama with lack of significance. The script gets interrupted. But only the chosen ones will hear the silence between the lines. Those who hear it recognize opportunity. Those who don't keep acting as if the stage is unchanged. There's a social ripple to this too. When a few people in a community start stepping out of their roles, the rest feel the structural tension. A friend who always kept the peace suddenly speaks plainly. A workplace habit that used to be the norm becomes visibly outdated. Family expectations that held for decades wobble. This is why the break in the script feels contagious. It's contagious because it exposes the artificial scaffolding everyone's been relying on. The portal refuses to let the play continue without revealing the playwright's edits. If you're sensitive to truth, you'll feel nausea at the fake props and relief when the curtain drops. That contradiction is the clearest signal that the script has been broken. This is not punishment. It's an editing room. The portal highlights the lines that no longer serve your story so you can cut them, however messy that cut may be. The break is brutal in its honesty. Some things will leave fast, others will linger and demand reconciliation. Either way, after 1818, you'll be reading new pages. The question is whether you'll take control of the pen or wait for someone else to finish the sentence for you. Whether you believe in it or not, the countdown ends on 1818. There's an invisible clock that many people feel but few name. It's not a calendar reminder, it's a pressure that builds in the chest, a persistent sense that something must change now or be lost forever. Think of it as a spiritual deadline, an expiration stamped on certain patterns, agreements, and potentials. Sometimes those deadlines are cultural or karmic. Other times they're personal contracts you signed in private without ceremony. Whatever their origin, the pressure is real. It can show up as restlessness at 2 a.m., a strange urgency to say what you've been holding back, or a sudden clarity about a decision you've been dodging for years. This is not melodrama. It's a focused intensity that pushes you toward resolution. For some people, it becomes do or die energy. Tasks that used to drag now demand completion in one surge of effort. For others, it's a quiet but unrelenting urgency that reshapes priorities overnight. The same force that compels you to pack up and leave a job can push someone else to finally call a parent and speak plainly. The portal doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about completion. It wants the loose ends tied, the debts recognized, the promises fulfilled or laid to rest. You'll notice different flavors of pressure depending on where you are in your life. If you're early, still setting foundations, it will feel like a rare opportunity, a door closing behind you if you don't move. If you're midway, caught between choices, it will feel like a trimming force. Remove what's excess or be buried by it. If you're late, already carrying too much, it can feel like a collapse point that forces radical shedding. People confuse this with panic, but panic is the mind, misreading an invitation to act. This pressure is precise. It's targeted at what's genuinely unresolved, not at imagined emergencies. There's also an odd moral clarity the pressure brings. Suddenly your excuses don't hold weight. Your reasons sound thin when you voice them out loud. That's because spiritual deadlines aren't about punishment. They're about alignment. They compress time so you can see more of your life at once, which makes choices clearer and unavoidable. Ask yourself now, are you running out of time, or are you about to make it just in time? The answer reveals how you'll experience 1818. If you lean into the pressure with purpose, it acts like a finishing tool. If you resist, it becomes a breaking point. Finally, understand that deadlines create momentum. Once the portal nudges you into action, things begin to accelerate. in ways that surprise even the bold. Small decisions compound. The courage to speak one truth ripples into a cascade of clear choices. That's why the urgency is also a gift. It forces alignment with less dithering, less cowardice, and more speed. The 1818 portal doesn't speak in whispers, it speaks in echoes. Tomorrow, the energy doesn't just arrive once, it arrives twice. And you'll notice it in ways that feel uncanny, almost staged. Two messages at the same time, the same phrase from two different people, seeing mirrored numbers back to back until it starts to feel like reality itself is looping. This isn't random. This is the pattern of doubles asserting itself, forcing you to pay attention where you normally drift. Repetition has always been the universe's highlighter. It doesn't tap you once and walk away, it circles the point until you finally look. When events show up twice, you're being told, this is not casual, this is coded. Maybe you'll be confronted with the same choice from two different directions, an invitation disguised as coincidence. Or maybe you'll feel a déjà vu so sharp it makes you pause mid-sentence, as if you've stepped into a scene you already played, but with one line changed. The 1818 energy amplifies this doubling until even the most skeptical mind has to admit that chance alone can't account for the rhythm. Think of it like this. When something repeats, the universe isn't stuttering. It's insisting the portal uses the echo to break through distraction, because in a world of endless noise, you only stop when you hear the same note twice. This is why 1818 feels like a mirror day. It reflects you back to yourself not once, but doubled, forcing you to notice what you've been avoiding. The double reflection leaves no hiding place. The pull of doubles isn't always external. For some, it will rise inside, two competing desires clashing louder than usual, two voices in the mind, both demanding a decision. Normally, you drown one out with routine, but under this portal, they'll stand side by side, equal in force, impossible to ignore. You'll be called to choose not because the choice is new, but because the choice now refuses to fade. Pay attention to what comes in pairs. The conversations that happen twice in one day. The theme that shows up in two different places. The face you bump into twice in 24 hours. These aren't small quirks, they're pressure points guiding you toward alignment. The more doubles you notice, the closer you are to the center of the portal's design. Tomorrow will not speak in single notes. It will arrive as a chord, doubled and undeniable. And when you feel the pull of doubles, you'll know the mirror has opened. The question is, will you keep walking past it, or will you finally stop and look at what's staring back? Numbers don't just measure things, they carry history, weight, and warnings. And 18 has never been a soft number. Across traditions, it carries a sharp edge, a reminder that not every cycle is meant to comfort you. In some systems of mysticism, 18 is the path that forces you to confront illusions, the hidden lies you tell yourself to feel safe. In tarot, the path connected with the moon is one of shadows, confusion, and tests. It doesn't offer clarity. It challenges you to walk through a fog where every step feels uncertain. In Hebrew mysticism, the 18th path was linked with trial, a gate where illusions collapse, where what you thought was secure suddenly feels like sand slipping through your fingers. That's why 18 has often been whispered about, even feared. Because while other numbers speak of beginnings or harmony, 18 reminds you that destruction is part of creation. Every false wall must crack before the truth can stand. The 1818 portal doubles that force. It's not just one collapse, it's mirrored collapse. Illusions don't just weaken, they shatter in both directions at once. And this is why tomorrow cannot be underestimated. The 1818 portal doesn't arrive to pat you on the back and say everything will be gentle. It comes to strip away the illusions you've been hiding behind. False security in relationships, jobs that keep you numb, beliefs you hold because you're afraid of the unknown, all of these are tested under this alignment. Some people will feel it as a quiet but crushing doubt. Why am I still here? Others will feel it violently, like a truth they've avoided exploding in their face all at once. The reason 18 is feared is not because it brings random chaos, but because it targets exactly the places where you're most comfortable. It drags the hidden into the light, even if you kick and scream against it. The fear of 18 is really the fear of losing the lies we cling to. And that's the paradox. What people fear in 18 is also what frees them. So when the portal opens, expect the illusions around you to shake. The mask someone has worn may slip. The story you've told yourself about your life may stop making sense, and the places where you thought you were safe, they may suddenly feel fragile. That's the work of 18, not to destroy you, but to destroy what was never real to begin with. The 1818 portal is feared because it doesn't let you pretend. It forces you to stand in a reality stripped bare, and for most, that's terrifying. But for the few who understand it, that's liberation. September has always carried a shadow that most people don't talk about. It's the 9th month. And 9 is not a number of beginnings, it's the number of endings. That's why so many cycles seem to collapse around this time of year. Projects fall apart, relationships come to a breaking point, old habits that once felt unshakable suddenly feel impossible to keep carrying. 9 doesn't let you keep holding on. 9 says, finish it, release it, close it. Now imagine what happens when this shadow of 9 collides with the 1818 portal. You don't just get a gentle reminder that some things should end. You get endings that snap shut like a trap, sudden and final, leaving no room to crawl back to what once was. The shadow of 9 doesn't ask for permission, it closes the door whether you're ready or not. That's why tomorrow carries such intensity. The portal is already about mirrors, repetition, doubles, and now, layered beneath it, is the number of finality. For some, this will feel like liberation, the universe finally ripping away something they couldn't bring themselves to release. For others, it will feel violent, like the rug being pulled out from under their feet without warning. Either way, it's the same force at work, endings demanded by the energy of 9, amplified by the mirror code of 1818. Think about what's been dragging in your life. The job you complain about but never leave. The friendship that's become a hollow shell of what it once was. The cycles that drain you, but you still repeat out of comfort. These are the exact things that the shadow of 9 comes to collapse. And when it does, it won't always feel clean or polite. Some endings come with slammed doors, harsh words, or the shock of realizing something you thought was stable has been crumbling for years. But there's a hidden mercy in all of this. Endings only seem cruel when you forget what comes after them. The shadow of 9 destroys what is finished, so that the unfinished within you can finally breathe. This is why so many mystics respected 9 as both a death and a rebirth number. It wipes out the stale so that life can rush in again. The 1818 portal supercharges this process. It doesn't just hint at endings, it enforces them. And if you've been clinging to something long past its expiration date, tomorrow may feel like the moment it all comes crashing down. Not to punish you, but to finally make space. Because every time 9 shuts a door, it leaves behind the silence where a new beginning can echo. The shadow of 9 is not something to fear, it's something to understand. It's the hidden hand behind every sudden goodbye, every collapse that leads to growth, every moment you thought was loss, but turned out to be your release. And tomorrow, that shadow walks beside the portal, ensuring that what must end will end, no matter how much you try to resist. There are moments when numbers stop being just numbers and start feeling like signals. Tomorrow is one of those days. Around the 1818 portal, you're going to notice something strange. The number 18 will begin showing up everywhere. On a receipt total. On the license plate of the car that cuts you off. On the clock when you randomly look at your phone. In the timestamp of a message that feels too perfectly timed to be coincidence. People dismiss this kind of thing as confirmation bias, the idea that once you're looking for something, you'll notice it more often. But that explanation doesn't explain the timing. Why does it peak exactly when the 1818 alignment is active? Why do people who never care about numerology suddenly find themselves surrounded by repeating numbers on days like this? That's not bias. That's pattern breaking through the veil. Numbers are the language the universe uses when words fall short. The sudden surge of 18 isn't random. It's a demand for attention. It's the universe leaning in and asking, "Are you awake enough to notice me?" Because repetition is never silent. When a number echoes, it's pointing at something urgent, something you can't keep ignoring. And 18, specifically, doesn't whisper. It disrupts. It doesn't appear in your life to say, "Everything is fine." It shows itself to say, "Pay attention, because change is knocking." Some will see 18 once or twice and shrug. But those who keep seeing it in rapid succession, back-to-back 18 on the clock, on the bill, on the random video view count, those people are being pulled into the heart of the portal. Here's the part most don't realize. When 18 repeats, it's not just showing you the energy of endings and collapse, it's also showing you the invitation into something bigger. The double 18 of tomorrow is an alignment that asks for choice. When you see it, it's a crossroads moment. Every time 18 repeats, it's the universe asking, will you stay the same or will you step into the rewrite? So tomorrow, if you find yourself surrounded by the number 18, don't brush it off. Ask yourself what it's pointing at. What habit, relationship, or decision have you been avoiding? What change keeps circling around you, waiting for you to finally say yes? Because the 1818 portal isn't passive. It will shove you toward the truth, whether you want it or not. The repeating numbers are just the warning signs along the road. And the real question you have to answer is this. If you see the back-to-back 18 tomorrow, are you brave enough to say yes to the wild change they're offering? Or will you let the signal pass you by, only to wonder later why life keeps echoing the same lessons, louder and louder, until you finally listen? "18 has always been more than a number. In hidden traditions, it's been whispered about as a dam number, a container, a reservoir, a structure designed to hold back force until the precise moment it must be released. That's why the 1818 alignment isn't gentle. It doesn't ease in quietly. It doesn't give you polite warnings. It snaps. It breaks. And when it does, the energy that has been bottled up behind it pours through like a floodgate, collapsing under pressure. Picture it. Years of stagnant choices, ignored intuitions, held back words, suppressed desires, all sitting behind a wall. Tomorrow, that wall isn't strong enough anymore. The date itself acts like a key, cracking open the structure and letting what's been hidden rush into consciousness. 18 is not a number you meditate with. It's a number that explodes in your life. Now here's where it gets wild. That energy won't hit everyone the same way. Some will feel it like exhaustion, as if the sheer weight of what was behind the wall finally presses down on them, forcing rest, silence, even immobility. They'll describe it as bone-deep tiredness, like carrying lifetimes of decisions all at once. For others, it'll hit like lightning, a sudden rush of vitality, ideas firing, adrenaline surging, the irresistible urge to finally do something. That polarity is part of the flood. When energy bursts through, it doesn't ask permission. It just moves. And here's the trap. People will try to rationalize it. They'll say, "Oh, I just didn't sleep well," or "I must have had too much coffee." But the truth is, when energy floods, the body becomes the first witness. The body doesn't lie. If you feel dizzy, restless, heavy, or electrified tomorrow, that's not your schedule. That's the surge. The reason it matters is because flood energy reshapes landscapes. Tomorrow is not random. It's not just numbers on a calendar. 1818 is a checkpoint, a rare alignment where time itself holds up a mirror. Most days pass like ordinary waves, but this one carries a hidden current strong enough to pull you off the path you've been walking. Ignore it, and the cycle tightens. Step into it, and the script breaks. This portal isn't here to comfort you, it's here to wake you up. The question is, when the 1818 portal opens, will you let it slip by? Or will you claim it as the moment everything changed? If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.